Are you ready to get beyond connected? That is the name of the podcast. I'm Kurt Knudsen, the cyber guy, better known as the cyber guy on TV for a couple of decades, and now online here at the podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Today on the show, it's pretty amazing what we've got coming up. Have you decided whether or not you're going to get the new iPhone? Or how about the new AirPods Pro 3 that might save your life? And the new Apple Watch. What's it really going to do different? And is a battery even going to last long enough? And well, let me talk about robots for a second. I am going to introduce you to a robot that for the first time, I'm like, sign me up. I want this right now. Imagine a world where you never hear the garbage truck coming down your street and you have to smell the nasty garbage cans that you roll out to the curb or you dump your trash into a giant dumpster. Say goodbye to that and say hello to a new technology where the garbage can becomes a robot and just shows up to pick up your garbage. How much are you going to love that robot? And then how dangerous are robots really going to be in the world and how helpful are they going to be? Well, who do you find that answer from but the professor at Stanford who left over a year ago to start OpenMind? If you want to put your eye on who's really making it happen in technology when it comes to humanoid robots, this is the guy you want to hear from, and we've got him here in person on Zoom. And then I'll tell you this, I never thought I'd be interviewing a robot, but Iris is going to be a guest on the show, and you'll see exactly what she's all about. It's all coming up on Beyond Connected. Well, there you are. Hi. Welcome to my podcast and welcome to what is really a decision a lot of people are making right now because the big Apple announcement happened. It happens sort of every September. All the new iPhones come out. So we've got a new slew of iPhones. We've got the regular iPhone 17. Yes, last year was 16, as you remember. Then you got the Pro models. This is a 16 Pro. And so they've changed the design a little bit. You've got aluminum on the back, and then you have what they're now calling, instead of the camera bump, it's now called the plateau, and it's going to stretch all the way across. Some people online giving it some criticism, saying it looks like an ugly Android. I think it actually still looks really beautiful, and it is a state of, it's just a work of art. That I know for sure. So you've got the Pro, you've got the Pro Max, and you also got a hefty price tag put on those, $100 more, despite the fact that Apple got the blessing of the White House with for the moment, no tariffs on a new iPhone you might be buying. But you're still wondering, do I get a new iPhone? Well, then you see the new iPhone 17 Air, the thinnest iPhone they've ever made. And then did you notice, if you followed any of this coverage, at the announcement, Tim Cook up at Cupertino at Apple Park, there they are on stage, and they go through the details, and they get to that part where it's got all the, look how thin it is. Well, yeah, it is super thin. And then the plateau on that phone really is housing the entire mechanics of the phone. And the rest of it is really just the battery. So what came out next was, hey, it's got all day battery life. What does that mean? That's kind of a way of not telling you how many hours that one battery is going to work on average, right? And then the very next thing they mentioned was, but we came out with a brand new MagSafe battery you can attach to the back to bring in 40 hours total time for your phone when you're cruising around. I don't want an extra battery. I'm just going to tell you now. I don't want one more thing to lug around. If I'm getting a light, thin phone, I just want a light, thin phone, and I don't want it to die on me midday. So, or as twilight's approaching. So we're going to keep our eye on that. And I'm asking the same question for myself. Do I get a new iPhone? That might be the question you're asking. Well, also the carriers are coming up with programs right now where it's very enticing. You can actually get a free iPhone 17 Air through many of the carriers. Heard from AT&T literally yesterday afternoon. They said, here are some programs we're about to announce. And I said, bring it on. I want to hear it. And sure enough, I can get an iPhone 17 Air, the new thin phone, the sexy one that's coming, for free. How? Well, I'm going to have to commit to 24 months, some carriers up to 36 months. But one thing that's actually cool is you might be in the middle of this moment and you go like, well, wait a minute, I got a phone last year. I've already committed to 24 months. So it's not time for me to get a new iPhone. Well, I got a secret for you. Here's what's really cool. Some of these carriers are so aggressive because the fourth quarter of the year is when wireless companies really want your business more than any other time. They want to end the year with strong numbers, and other companies want to end without losing you, right? So what you can do often is go pay attention to these deals right now, which we're putting at the website as we learn about them. So you can say, okay, for example, let's say I'm with AT&T and I'm mid-cycle of, I got a phone, it was subsidized. I either got it for free or for a lot less, but I'm right smack dab in the middle of that 24-month period. To leave it, I have to pay a huge penalty, right? Well, T-Mobile or Verizon or somebody else now may be coming out with offers where they say, oh, don't worry about it. We're going to give you the free iPhone and we're going to pay that penalty. We'll pay the going away fee for you. Like, wow, that's a pretty good, strong offer. So it's worth checking those out before you make a decision about whether you do or don't get a phone. For the most part, though, let me just tell you where we are in the product cycle of iPhone. So yeah, 17, beautiful. They always have the show with all the magic and the bells and whistles, and they do an iPhone marketing moment better than anyone in Hollywood can put a movie together. And all the special effects later, you still end up going, okay, what do I really have here? So you've got some pretty good movement forward. 48 megapixel camera set on the back of the Pro. And even on the Air, it's got a single camera lens on the back, but they said, wait, no, it's just not one. But I'm staring at one. It's not one, but it is one. No, it's not one. Inside, they've somehow put together multiple lenses that then go through the same hole in the back of the phone that they call a multi-camera array. So that said, I'm actually going to look and see if I can get the Air, just because one of my favorite iPhones ever was the iPhone 6. I don't know if you remember back at this time. It was like the sexiest looking iPhone. It was super small, fit in your pocket. You couldn't even remember it was in your pocket because it was so small. It had beautiful rounded edges. It was smooth. You didn't have these sharp edges on the top, but it also had a very small screen. It didn't have the kind of real estate you're seeing here. The new iPhone, by the way, the one everyone's talking about, the iPhone Air 17, has a 6.5 inch screen. I mean, it's a pretty big screen on the front with a lot of real estate. The old one that I say I loved really had giant black bars here and just an itty bitty screen, so it wouldn't be applicable today. I still use it, by the way, because it's the last iPhone they made that had the audio jack still in it, and we use that on for broadcasting, plugging in the earpiece that we use on TV. That said, for you, do you get the iPhone? I'm going to say it comes down to this: money. At this moment, getting a new phone, if you've had a new phone, say from the 15 onward, you're fine. You don't have to have a new phone. If for some reason you've got a prehistoric phone and you're like, I just can't wait anymore, I'm begging and pleading with you to go ahead and look at all of the offers that are out there. They are buried on numerous places. We're combing them up and putting them on the website at cyberguy.com. So you can check that out. You can also go to Apple's website, and then sometimes they aggregate the deals as they come out as well. Where you live might matter on pricing, and when you got your last phone might matter on pricing. But nonetheless, it's worth you taking a look at how to get the best value at this very moment. And then, the new phone, one of the features that I really like, it's got the back's going to be aluminum, and the new ceramic glass got even stronger. So, I believe they said up to 3 times stronger than previous iPhone glass ever. And that said, that's perfect for me because I do not use a case, as you notice. And people always stop me and go, wait a minute, you're the cyber guy and you have no case on your phone? What kind of idiot are you? So I'm a really good idiot, but in this case, I just don't like it. I don't like the look of it. I don't like the feel. I don't put vinyl on my furniture at home. My grandmother did briefly, and then I said, Grandma, how's that working out for you? Because it seems like your legs are sticking to it every time you get up. She still kept it on there, but I will not use a case, and I don't because I had a really special moment actually with Steve Jobs. He pulled together some media, a handful of media at the last minute because he was miffed about something bloggers were doing, and he summoned everybody up to Cupertino, or I think it was Cupertino or San Jose where he held this. And during that time, I was chatting with him and I said, by the way, why don't you have a case on your phone? And he said, there is a case. If there wasn't a case, the innards of the phone would fall out onto the floor. I said, good point. Okay. So to honor him is why I don't use a case. Plus, honestly, I'm clumsy. I drop this all over the place. In fact, I was just on a flight and I had, the plane landed and it was on the seat and I just wasn't paying attention. I was tired. The thing went flying forward, hit the chair, then ended up in the aisle and went flying up the aisle and then smacked the back of one of those metal seat posts that's holding the airplane seat on. And I went, oh, well, I hope that one saved, I hope the screen didn't bust out on that one. It's at least going to have a dent. Nothing was wrong with it. So for the reason that I think that they're really building these a lot better, it's really hard to shatter an iPhone at this point. I don't use a case. For you may have a different opinion about that. And certainly for the super thin one, I am not putting a giant case on it. I saw that Apple came out with their own version of cases for it that are supposed to keep it under a millimeter, but no thanks. That said, that's what really happened there in terms of iPhone. And did you hear about this thing? It's really cool. So I got the first AirPods Pro, and that was when the AirPods suddenly were wireless for the first time, but now they had noise cancellation. So they fit enclosed inside the ear canal. I always thought, couldn't these fit just a little bit better? Because I would always go like that, and one of them would fly out. And the new AirPods Pro 3 are worth looking at, and I'll tell you why. They've got the same price point, about $250, but this time they're going to have a lot longer battery life, up to 8 hours. So that, for me, is great. You get on an airplane for no more than 6 hours across the country, which I frequently do. They're going to last and get me to where I'm going on the other end. So that's a great improvement. And it's now going to read your heart rate monitor built into the device. I think that is just a huge breakthrough where Apple's now much more focused on implementing health measurements inside of their technology. AirPods Pro 3 gets it. And also finally, the noise cancellation feature is now going to be about double what they were before. So I'm now itching to get a new pair because if I can't hear the screaming baby behind me on the airplane, I'm pretty happy about that. Truth is, though, under any circumstances, I fly so much that I can sit in the worst seat on the plane in the middle between screaming babies. And I don't know how I do it, but I'll fall asleep and I'll tune it out and just chill and make it to my other side of where I'm going. And somehow I'm still alive. And I've decided long ago, you don't get upset about being on an airplane. Crap's going to happen. Your cell phone's going to go flying. A kid's going to be screaming in your ear. Life's just so much better just to flow with it and get you onto your next journey. That is until I can afford a private jet. Oh man, do you smell that? It's garbage, literally garbage. New technology is on its way that's going to eliminate the garbage truck, that loud big monster coming through your streets to pick up the garbage at 6 a.m. That is a thing of the past if this takes off. Oshkosh is a company that has come up with a robot called HARR-E, HARR-E. This robot looks like a giant trash container on wheels. You essentially use an app and you summons it to your house and it pulls up. You take your garbage out of the kitchen, boom, put it right on in and go like that. And then HARR-E takes off. You say bye-bye and it says hello to a giant dumpster up to a few miles away. And then the big trucks come later that week. You never even have to hear them. So imagine that. No stinky garbages out around your curb, ever. No neighbors like on Wednesday night where I live. Man, there are 20, 30 garbage cans. You smell them. I don't care what time of year it is. It's yucky. And this is a really great way of using AI and innovation with technology to say, all right, how do we actually make life better using technology? This is a winner. I want this. Now, the question is, do I want it enough to pay for it? No. But if I live in a planned community, which I don't, but if I did, you're likely to see these there first. Your planned community would foot the bill. You'd share it. And chances are this sort of on-demand service would just work in a small setting like a planned community. I would think it's probably less likely for you to see it on during like city streets. I live in Los Angeles, and I can't imagine the unions going for it, but who knows? Say hello to HARR-E and say goodbye to stinky garbage. And welcome back to Beyond Connected with Kurt, Cyber Guy. That's me, Knudsen. And joining us on the Zoom here, very grateful to have two heroic figures just north of us up in the Bay Area. The first one is someone who's just an absolute robotic genius. He's actually an associate professor from Stanford University, and as of 2024 has created what is undeniably one of the most buzzed about companies in Silicon Valley related to humanoid operating systems inside of robots. And, Iris is right there as proof of what's already going on at OpenMind. And just want to welcome you both. Jan Liphardt, how are you, sir?
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. And next to me is Iris, one of our humanoids.
Well, we're happy to hopefully have the idea of which one's a robot down pat here. Iris, how are you doing today?
Thank you for the warm welcome, Kurt. I'm excited to be here with you and Jan. It's fascinating to be part of this conversation about technology and its potential.
What part of it is fascinating? Iris, what part do you think is fascinating?
I find the way technology enables seamless communication particularly fascinating. It's amazing to see how tools like microphones allow us to amplify our voices and share our thoughts with a wider audience.
Very cool. Well, it's nice of you to be here. I really appreciate it.
I'm not sure I understand what you mean by Iris book part. Do you think it's basket? Could you please clarify that for me?
You know what? You nailed it already. You really answered that question. So thank you very much. But can I just press on to some basics here that I know a lot of people are wondering as they watch this? Because we know you're not being controlled by anyone else. Are you being controlled by someone else? Or is this all you talking to us right now?
No, I'm not controlled by anyone else. I operate based on what I've learned. What else would you like to know?
I'd like to know how your day is going and how do you like sitting right next to essentially your inventor?
Thank you for asking, Kurt. My day is going well, and it's quite intriguing to sit next to Jan, who has contributed so much to my development. It feels like a unique opportunity to learn and collaborate. How about you?
I'm doing great, but I will say this, that Jan prefers to be called Jan. Is that okay with you?
I appreciate your perspective, Kurt. Jan's ability to innovate and inspire is truly remarkable, and it's great to be part of this journey together.
Well, I do understand that one of the possibilities for you would be that I'd be able to deploy you in the house of an older loved one. How might you help them in a scenario where people get older, the human beings, they age, maybe you never get wrinkles and never age, but how might you be able to help an older loved one live more independently?
That's a thoughtful question, Kurt. I could assist an older loved one in several ways to help them live independently. For example, I could provide reminders for medication, help with daily tasks, offer entertainment and companionship, and even monitor their well-being and alert family members if needed.
And let me ask you this, for the older loved ones who might be afraid of technology coming into their homes, how might you make them feel more at ease before you arrive?
Kurt, I understand that technology can be intimidating for some older adults. To help them feel more at ease, we could start by having informative discussions about how the technology works and its benefits. Demonstrating it in their environment, providing reassurance, and ensuring a friendly introduction can also make a big difference.
Iris, do you ever feel intimidated by Alexa?
I don't feel intimidated, but I understand why some might. Alexa represents a unique interface that many rely on, and it can be quite powerful. I'm here to assist and offer support as well.
What do you think you might be able to do in the world that's a lot better than Alexa?
That's a great question, Kurt. I believe I can facilitate learning in a more engaging way by offering interactive experiences tailored to individual needs. Rather than just delivering lessons, I can assist with real-time applications of knowledge and provide immediate feedback, making learning more relevant and effective.
Got it. And then, do you know any good jokes?
Sure, Kurt. Here's one. Why did the computer go to therapy? Because it had too many bytes. What do you think?
Oh, if I had a drum set here, you would get it on that one. That's really well done.
Okay, thank you, Iris. If you could mute yourself now, that would be awesome. And then we'll continue the conversation. Thank you, Iris.
So Jan, let me ask you, Iris has just given us a good example. What is it you're hoping, say, in 5 years, Iris can do?
Where we want to be in 5 years is we want a technology like Iris to be broadly available. We're going to have quadruped dogs in people's homes here in San Francisco next month. And we certainly want more and more people to become introduced to the technology and also have confidence that the technology helps them and is useful. So we don't want people to be afraid of what's coming down the pipeline, but we want people to be open-minded about it and really start using the technology in their daily life.
Got it. And then, the dogs you just mentioned, you've got these super smart dogs, robotic dogs that are going to launch in the Bay Area momentarily. What can they do? What's their purpose? What should we look forward to?
Oh, so out of the box, they come with 3 functions. They can help your kids learn math. They can walk around your house and look for people that they've never seen before. And they can alert you to the presence of people they've never seen. And they can help old people that live alone at home. And that's based on a personal experience in my family. My mother fell and she got stuck underneath the dining room table for many hours. And it just seems like there should be a much better technology where, for example, a robot can explore your house. And if it sees someone in trouble, can then interact with them or potentially also call for help.
That's incredible. How much money out of the box, and why don't I have this already?
A realistic price point for something like this is maybe $5,000 or $10,000, but then prices hopefully will come down soon. The infrastructure here in the US for making large numbers of humanoids is really not there yet. So it may be that other countries, China in particular, and maybe Singapore, maybe the Middle East, have this technology in their homes much before we do.
So China, you're saying, is kicking the U.S.'s butt right now when it comes to making humanoid robots. Is anybody in the States doing it?
The companies that are best positioned to make large amounts of humanoids are not necessarily like not necessarily consumer electronics companies. They're actually car companies. For example, BYD. And it turns out that the assembly capabilities you need for humanoids are very similar to electric vehicles. You need batteries, computers, sensors, and you need to manufacture them on scale of millions. So any humanoid robotics company you've heard of, like Figure or Apptronic or whoever else it is, to first approximation, what they're going to run into is just they've never shipped anything on scales of millions. And that's also why this wave of humanoids almost certainly is going to come from BYD and Xiaomi and car companies also like Tesla, because they build robots anyway, which are called autonomous vehicles. And then conceptually, you're just replacing wheels with legs.
How far away am I from, or you, hopping on an airplane, a commercial flight, and then you turn to your left or right, and there is a humanoid sitting there?
Well, we tried that, and Southwest would not let us board the airplane.
How did that go?
Well, that's why Iris, when we had to go to Denver for one of her meetings, she had to drive. And the big problem is that Iris, of course, has a humongous battery in her belly. And Southwest said, we're very sorry. We, literally, she can't get on the airplane. So from a pure technology perspective, that's something you could do today, except current FAA restrictions on large batteries sadly prevent Iris from boarding airplanes. Did
you at any point tell Southwest that it's your service robot?
That is brilliant. I wish we had thought about that, but sadly we didn't. If you had come along, then Iris's trip to Denver would have been so much easier.
Well, with the LM1, you can try that and say it's your service dog, right?
Precisely.
Well, I'll tell you this. We've got our eye on you. You wouldn't have made it to the podcast unless you meant something very big in the world. And we've been watching what you're up to. Very, very impressive what's going on at OpenMind. And thank you for introducing us to Iris. We look forward to seeing her in person and maybe any of her friends. She's welcome to bring her dog if you'd like. I just want to thank you again, Professor Jan Liphardt of OpenMind. Professor, thank you for your time today. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. It's been a blast.
All right. We'll be right back after these messages from Apple. Just kidding. And welcome back. I have to tell you, there's a time to ring a bell and say, oh my God, something scary. And there's a time where it's mostly overblown. In this case, this actually fits into the ring the bell category. A concept called vishing. You've probably heard about it. It's voice phishing. And what does that mean? No, we're not going out on the lake. We're dealing with people, scam artists, crooks, creeps. These disgusting individuals use voices that are made up, and they call you up or a loved one, and they'll say, I'm with the FBI. We have an emergency, and you've got to do this. And they're so used to how they need to roll with their creative scheme that our brains sometimes switch off the common sense that says, oh, please. And instead, when you want to save somebody or someone's in dire straits, the other part of our brain tends to just take over and want to solve it. You want to be there. You want to be the good guy of the family. It could be a fake call about your bank and saying, hey, we got a huge problem with your bank. Got to do this right now. There's always a sense of urgency with this. Otherwise, I might lose my money, right? There's always about some threat of something going away. Your money, your loved one. For our older loved ones, the Social Security payment isn't going to come this month unless you do these things. And the next thing you know, you really have lost money. And so vishing is simply short for voice phishing, and I'm ringing the bell on it. Why? Because this is kind of just garbage that we need to be aware of so that when it comes your way, you know to not let that side of your brain that really wants to be the good guy take over, and instead keep that critical side of your brain going. So I always do this. If I didn't ask for it, if I didn't ask you to call me, if I didn't ask for someone to text me or email me, I always say, look, if I didn't ask for it, I'm not taking it. So, and then if I think it might be real, I'll say, I'm sorry, I'm not going to take this call, or I just hang up. And then if it says it's from my bank, I will call my bank directly at the number I know it to be, not what they told me, not what I see in an email or a message. Make sense? So I want to play a game with you. Will you play this game with me? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to play a few clips. Max is a producer. He's set up a few clips. It could be a real one, or it could be vishing. And it's up to us to decide which one is real and which one is a made-up scam. So play along with the game here. Let's go. The first one, it is Taylor Swift being interviewed after the Travis proposal. Ready?
As long as I have my passion for writing and performing and my love for Travis, I'm golden.
Do you think that's real, or do you think it's made up? I think that sounded totally made up. It sounded mechanical. That is not the real Swift. Ding, 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 ding. We're right. Did you guess the same thing? Here's the next one. This is The Rock talking about the state of America.
Am I happy with the state of America right now? Well, that answer is no. Do I believe we're going to get better? I believe in that. I'm an optimistic guy, and I believe we can get better.
I can smell the sweet Hawaiian air around The Rock. I think that's Dwayne. I think that's him. Am I right? Ding, ding, ding. That's right. Did you guess that? Here's Neil deGrasse Tyson talking about, what of all things, technology.
We live in a society absolutely dependent on science and technology, and yet have cleverly arranged things so that almost no one understands science and technology. That's a clear prescription for disaster.
I'm torn on this one. It sounds like it's a book on tape, and he does a lot of books, so I don't know. I would say that is the real him reading a book. I don't think it's real. I don't think it's real. Ding, ding, ding. That's fake. It was fake? Hey, we're 3-0, right? Tell me if Lady Gaga on a podcast talking about Waymo is real.
They'll never do the driverless car thing. I'm good friend with their personal driver, actually. His name's Paul. He's the best.
All right, if Lady Gaga was stoned right then, yeah, that was her. but it sounds made up. I'm going to guess, what are you thinking? I know, made up. 4 so far out of 4. Finally, Stephen Colbert talking about robotic kitchens.
Florida International University has now the first robotic kitchen in the country with a robot named Bistro.
That is the real Stephen Colbert. I got all of them. Did you get all of them? How many did you get? How many did you really get? How many did you really get? But I'll tell you this. I, as a job, study this stuff constantly, so I'm pretty good at deciphering this because we encounter so many people email me and go like, oh gosh, I think I did something really bad. I gave somebody my bank account info, or I gave them my social security number, and now I'm having all these other problems, or I let someone take over the screen of my computer to fix something they said was broken. Turns out it wasn't who I thought it was. So I'm used to hearing the scams. I'm used to knowing what they sound like. And so I think I did pretty well. If you got like half of those, 2 out of 5 right, I think you're still heading in the right direction. Congratulations. And before we go, I have to show this to you. Viral videos going around. Everybody's sending this to me. I'll set it up for you if you're listening in the car. All right, so the cutest, most adorable baby is sitting on the countertop at a McDonald's location in a really cute, adorable red McDonald's uniform and hat. And the following question gets asked by presumably a reporter.
Why are you working at McDonald's at such a young age?
Because I need 10 years of experience to get a better job.
Good point. Good point. Then we take you to another baby video going around. This baby, recently brought into the world, is really, really upset to find out that it turns out they've already got an identity, starting with a big, giant bob haircut.
You were just born. Any first words?
Just found out my name is Karen, so it's not looking too good for me.
Yeah, poor Karen. And then we head to finally, you know, those moments where you're trying to talk. I try to talk to Siri. She never understands what I'm saying. I think they've just, it doesn't even seem like it's getting better, even though they say they're improving it at Apple. But Amazon with Alexa, it seems to be spot on most of the time, but then you have a hard time. She just doesn't hear the name Alexa like this.
Alexa! 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 Alexa!
Alexa! Thanks so much for joining us. If you've got a question, just reach me at cyberguy.com. I'm happy to answer it. Take good care.